make massive moves.
How can you say that?
That is what it is.
Your mother eloped with someone else.
I just think this is such a genius idea. I think it's amazing.
I can be happy.
It's inside you. It's inside of all of us.
It's about cooking smart that are nutritious and delicious.
President Trump acknowledging the coronavirus death toll could be significantly higher.
You don't want to do this.
There is nothing you can take.
Jerusalem.
Surviving roommates scared.
The heavyweights arrive.
Inside, finds Pachulia, blocked by Jane.
This is the will of God.
Make massive moves with STARSAT.
It's the 29th of March, 2021. Welcome to Pan-African Morning. Thank you for joining us. It is such a pleasure to be in your company once again as we serve you your favorite breakfast show. We're coming to you live from our Midrand studios here in Johannesburg, and here's hoping you had a fantastic weekend as much as I did. I'm your host, Audrey Chimwanda. I'll be with you for the next couple of hours as we keep you updated with the current affairs and news, a bit of entertainment, sports here and there. So please do stay with us. We begin here today in a bit to assert his leadership over the party. The ANC President, Cyril Ramaphosa, is using a possible cabinet reshuffle to try and garner majority support for a resolution to sideline his arch-rival and Party Secretary General Ace Magashule. Now, according to sources that are close to the party, Ramaphosa's move has angered many within the National Executive Committee, which concludes its three-day meeting. It has concluded its three-day meeting. Now, the tone for this weekend's NEC meeting was set earlier this week when the ANC's top six meeting ended in chaos following a clash between Ramaphosa and Magashule after the latter was told by Ramaphosa to step aside in the interests of the broader party unity. Now, the open warfare at the NEC comes as several members of the ANC, led by retired Army General Moamela Mojo-Motau, marched onto Luthuli House over the weekend to demand that they address the NEC on a number of issues. During the protest outside of Luthuli House, Motau wanted to address the NEC. He later said in the letter that he gave to the NEC that they must give them an opportunity to address a number of issues. As leaders of the ANC, they need to listen to cadres since they want to address them. Let's take a listen into what Motau had to say.
Who gave them instructions that they want the ANC of Oliver Tambo finished this weekend. And we are giving them notice. Let them do something stupid and try to expel the comrades who represent Oliver Tambo. We will show them.
We want early conference.
We will not even ask for an early conference. We will just expel them.
Yes.
We will expel them. Because we cannot hand over the African National Congress to their masters. We can't do that. Comrades, our enemies are at war. Our enemies have launched an offensive against us. We need to go out from this today and tell our people that together we must be united, not divided by small little things. United because they...
Well, on this day, a year ago, South Africa entered lockdown after the first COVID-19 cases were reported. The government has used changing alert levels to manage the rising COVID-19 infections as well as the deaths. The Health Minister, Dr. Zweli Mkhize, reflected on the 1 year of lockdown. Now, the government needs a clear and coherent communication strategy if they're to successfully reach the highest possible number of citizens with the adjusted regulations. Let's hear what the Health Minister, Zweli Mkhize, had to say.
It has been a year, a very painful and difficult year, and a very difficult time for South Africans in general. But I think when we look back, we need to salute all the fellow South Africans for rising to the occasion to face the very difficult period, working together and getting us to a point where we can today say that there's a hope as we move forward. It was most difficult to actually be part of the discussions where we had to agree that there has to be a complete shutdown, no movement of people, no visiting of friends, no traveling between city to city or from a province to province. Basically, no socializing. Literally, that's what it meant, because staying at home meant that was the only way we could actually slow down the spread of the infection. And the purpose of it was what we called was to...
Well, right now there is a vacuum of speculation, and some say the earlier the president can get to address this, the better. He's no stranger to the Sunday night addresses and often leaves it until late afternoon to tell us that a family meeting will take place later on. But of course, with Good Friday now just a few days away, time is no longer on Ramaphosa's side. Therefore, we are more likely to see his speech come within the next few days, something that DA leader John Hazen says he's sure of. As we wait with bated breath for Cyril Ramaphosa to address, it seems any plans for a tougher Easter weekend will be relayed sooner rather than later. In other news now, lawyers for the ZONDO Commission have told the Constitutional Court judges that former President Jacob Zuma has not provided reasons as to why he has refused to appear in front of the Commission. Professor Tumim Simanya weighs in.
It's a big argument that, in fact, the judges were more, I think, interested in trying to dig deeper into the submissions by Nuka-Itobi, primarily because we look at the nature of, what is in front of us is that the ZONDO Commission investigations of the state capture, in actual fact, it has a specific time frame in which it needs to operate. It should have ended, in fact, in February 2020. But it has been extended. Now, for someone who refuses within that particular period of time to comply, requires the commissions to act with an agency in as far as trying to set an example and a precedent to anyone who appears or likely to appear before it, that the law should be applied. The Constitution is the supreme law of this land, irrespective of whether one is a former president or not, needs to comply with it. And there's an order already that required him to do so, and he still fails to do that. So by giving him another option, in fact, it will be a fruitless and wasteful time for them to do that, because he has already issued a press release to say that he's not going to comply. He has been in prison before, so he's not...
Alcohol and tobacco industries are holding thumbs up for the government to allow them to trade over the Easter holiday. President Cyril Ramaphosa's cabinet is expected to meet to discuss all the possible introductions of a higher lockdown level over the Easter weekend. It's been reported that recommendations have been made to the National Coronavirus Command Council to restrict alcohol sales as fears of a third wave of COVID-19 infections increases. The alcohol and tobacco industries are holding their thumbs up that perhaps there'll be a positive outcome. Once again, this as the cabinet is expected to gather and make a decision going forward if indeed a higher lockdown level for the holidays will be needed. It's been reported that recommendations have been made to the National Corona Command Council to restrict alcohol sales as fears of a third wave of COVID-19 infections increases. However, the convener of Liquor Traders Formation, Lucky Ntimane, believes that there is no justification for yet another alcohol ban. The tobacco industry say that they too are hopeful that no further bans happen.
Our members are really feeling the pinch. We just come out of a month end where none of the members were able to service their debts. It's a dire situation that the members are facing. And we are hopeful that the president will come to the rescue and safeguard the livelihoods of these liquor traders as well as their workers and allow us to go back into trading as a matter of agency starting tomorrow. So the difficulty is that, if you look at the festive season, December period, that's where the members make, the most income. Almost 30% of their sales come in the December period.
Well, messages of condolences are pouring in for Public Protector Advocate Busisiwe Mkhwebane and her family, this after her mother passed away. Mother Geli Mkhwebane passed away on Saturday. This was confirmed by Mkhwebane's spokesperson, Opasehwale, to the media a few days ago. Now, in a message written from the Public Protector, it said, "Thank you for your love and support. You remained resolute in prayer during all challenges that I faced. Thank you for leaving me with the gift of prayer, and we shall overcome. I love you, Busisiwe." Now, messages and tributes were shared in various social media platforms. On Thursday, Mkhwebane made a brief appearance in the Pretoria Magistrates Court, where the National Prosecuting Authority requested more time to deliberate atop the merit of her representations seeking the 3 counts of perjury that she's currently facing to be relinquished. The 4 police officers are accused of killing Mthokozisi Ntumba. Well, this is another story. In other news, the 4 officers accused of killing Mthokozisi Ntumba will be told whether or not they will be granted bail. All 4 have indicated their intention to plead not guilty.
He did not deliberately fire rubber bullets at any member of the public with the intention to kill anyone. He respectfully submits that the provisions of Section 60 sub 4 to 60 sub 8 of the Criminal Procedure Act 51 of 1977, that is on the balance of probabilities are in his favor, and that if he's released on bail, he will not endanger the public or any particular person's safety, nor commit a Schedule 1 offense. If released on bail, he will not evade trial. He cannot afford to forfeit his bail money if released on bail. There's no incentive for him to evade his trial. He is confident that he'll be found not guilty in this matter. He gave full cooperation to the police, that is IPID. He went to their offices as requested and was placed under arrest. Applicant will not influence or intimidate state witnesses if released on bail. He has not disclosed false information to the investigating officer or the court at any stage. His release on bail will not undermine public peace or security and will not disturb public peace. His release will not lead to public disorder. His safety will also not be jeopardized by his release. Applicant emphasized that COVID-19 pandemic is a serious risk for detainees in prison and accordingly requests that the court should release him on bail. The applicant's wife confirmed that herself, together with the applicant, have a minor son, aged 11 years.
Well, we heard from Malusi Gigaba's former wife saying that Malusi is friends with the Hawks and that they just wanted to silence her and get access to her gadgets in order to remove certain information for the state capture inquiry so that apparently he can get away with his doings. This was coming from Noma Ngoma, just outside of the court. Let's take a listen into what she had to say.
When I fought, I stood up. I didn't stand up only for myself, but I stood up for all the women out there who went through the similar situation like what I've been through. And also, like I can say, Malusi used his power, his connection, because the Hawks are his friends, and they did that to intimidate me. And also they did that so that they can silence me, because the reason it was not only I did something. He just wanted to get access to my gadgets and remove certain information for state capture so that he can get away with his doing. And I don't even know why he involved me in the first place, but he's the one who will answer to the commission, not me.
Now, obviously, you feel vindicated now. Are you feeling, peaceful, or do you have still, those feelings of resentment because of what you went through?
I'm happy, I'm excited because I have a best legal team. So anything maybe he decided to throw at me, I know I have people who will fight for me and who are not scared of anything. And also I'm strong. He tried to break me, he tried to test me, but I'm still here standing.
Can I have a sorry? You said you're going to issue summonses. Is it for unlawful arrest, civil suits for against the Hawks? The legal action you're taking from
For all the humiliation, the trauma, the unlawful detention, for all those things, as well as a reputation which has been tainted by this unlawful arrest.
So it's a civil suit against the Hawks?
It is.
Because also to add, because the Judge Sadiwala, he said they must return my information, and until today, my information is not here. So you can see with the GBBE where it stands, because we have the Minister of Police, who always say he's preaching like he's fighting GBB, but he hasn't fight for me, actually, like myself, because my information is not here, and those people are still working, their jobs are still there, so you can see who's fighting for who.
Well, 7 workers were killed during an ambush, including one South African. President Cyril Ramaphosa said that he will call an urgent meeting as the standoff between Mozambique forces and ISIS-linked militants continues. Now, this follows after Islamist militants from the Al-Shabaab seized Palma in the Cabo Delgado province in northern Mozambique. Several people were killed near a huge gas project involving France Total. Militants raided the town on Wednesday, and close to 200 people, including foreign workers, were evacuated from a hotel where they had sought refuge. Now, at the time, local media reported that at least 7 workers were killed during the ambush, including one South African. Many more are still unaccounted for, and no group has claimed responsibility for the attack as yet.
Ethiopia's Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed announced on Friday that Eritrean troops will withdraw from Ethiopia's Tigray region. 3 days earlier, the 2019 Nobel Peace Laureate recognized for the first time the presence of Eritrean soldiers in this region of northern Ethiopia, where the government launched a military operation against separatist forces last November. Officially, fighting ceased on November 28th, but in Tigray, residents tell a different story. This man lost his 15-year-old son.
The
war is escalating. Now it is focused on civilians. Our young girls are being raped. 15-year-olds are being raped.
This hospital has partially reopened after 3/4 of it was destroyed. But more people needing help arrive every day.
They are all civilians, and we are constantly receiving patients who are injured. So if somebody says, I don't care whoever he is, if somebody says there is no war in Tigray, that would be a joke for me.
Ethiopia's Human Rights Commission said on Wednesday that Eritrean soldiers had massacred more than 100 civilians in the conflict. A giant container ship is stuck in the Suez Canal, forcing the world's maritime traffic to slow down. The MV Ever Given wedged diagonally across the canal in a sandstorm on Tuesday. Egypt had to suspend navigation along this crucial trade axis between Europe and Asia until authorities are able to refloat the 400-metre-long hulk. The operation could take weeks. Dozens of ships have been stranded, and a delay in oil deliveries briefly caused crude prices to jump on Wednesday. Vessels seeking an alternative route must now pass via the Cape of Good Hope, which adds 6,000 kilometres, roughly a week's navigation time, onto their journey as they circumnavigate the African continent. To Tanzania now, where thousands lined up to bid farewell to late President John Magufuli. The government announced his death on the 17th of March, with the given cause of death a long-running heart condition. But the opposition claim he died from COVID-19, a disease whose seriousness the president had downplayed. The announcement of his passing came after he disappeared from public life for almost 3 weeks. Emotional mourners paid their last respects as his body lay in a stadium in Dar es Salaam. Emergency service members took care of a number of people who passed out. Few wore face masks. And a woman and 4 children died in a stampede as mourners rushed over the weekend. After a state funeral on Monday, Magufuli was buried in his hometown of Chato on Friday. 77 years old, 36 in power. And Congo's President Denis Sassou Nguesso has been re-elected for another term.
It is a feeling of honor because the people have just honored me. I thank the people.
The veteran leader won with a landslide of almost 89% of votes in Sunday's election. In another dramatic turn, his main rival, Guy Brice Parfait Lelas, died of COVID-19 on election day aboard a medical plane to Paris. A day before, his campaign had released a video that he filmed from his sickbed ahead of an internet blackout.
My dear compatriots, I am in difficulty. I am fighting against death. But even so, I ask you to stand up. Go ahead and vote for change. I won't have fought for nothing. You must fight.
His death leaves the opposition considerably weakened, whilst Sassou Nguesso has consolidated his power base. Critics denounced the early voting by soldiers, which they claim is a source of potential fraud. The Catholic Church was unable to deploy observers. One of the world's longest-serving rulers, Sassou Nguesso, has long been accused by critics of authoritarian rule and turning a blind eye to corruption, poverty and inequality, despite the country's oil wealth. His most pressing issue now is to diminish the country's dependence on black gold.
Like this, it might be quite.
Night patrols and armed response teams are guarding an unlikely treasure. Avocado theft is on the rise in South Africa's northern Limpopo province. Security companies like this one are in high demand. This team of more than 150 guards now patrol around 20 farms in the Tsenin area per night.
When they saw us, they switch off the lights.
The others is green gold. They call it green gold. It's something that sells very easy on the black market. And the farmers are running a very big loss with the theft on their farms.
Local agricultural organizations estimate that thousands of tons have been stolen over the past 5 years, amounting to around $1.5 million of lost income. The family-run Alisbester farm outside Tsenin spends around $100,000 on security a year, but has still suffered losses. Not only has theft increased, but also the organized nature of the crime.
In the past, it generally tended to be a situation where people would come in, steal the fruit and sell it next to the road. Nowadays, it's getting washed, packed into proper boxes, shipped with proper transport into proper markets and organized markets even.
Most of the stolen produce is first-grade fruit meant for export, mainly to Europe, where it can sell for up to $12 per kilo.
Because we know when they come one day, they come. And you'll cry when 2 tons are gone.
Despite this, provincial police say these crimes are rarely reported. This farmer believes heavier sentences would act as a better deterrent.
If that penalty can be hard to people who are taking things unconditionally, then we'll be safe. But as long as the penalty it's light, everybody will come to you and do whatever you want to do. So that it must come from the government.
Like with so many other crimes, it's not just the farm's bottom line that is affected.
The more fruit we need to pack, the more capacity we need at the pack house, the more people we need to employ. And in that way, having a risk such as avocado fruit theft directly affects these people in terms of their employment.
The economic impact of COVID-19 forced many farms to scale down on security, leaving them more vulnerable than ever. As the avocado picking season starts, farmers know the raids are coming.
We continue with our stories from the African continent. We go to Rwanda now, where they have reacted to a report on France's role in Tutsi genocide. Now, visitors to the Kigali Genocide Memorial reacted after the publication of a report by historians on France's role in the 1994 atrocity. Here's a report.
Rwandans visiting the Kigali Genocide Memorial react to the publication of a report Friday on France's role in their nation's 1994 genocidal atrocity against the Tutsi ethnic group. The report, based on research led by historian Vincent Declercq, concludes there had been a failure on the part of France under former leader François Mitterrand. There is nothing that the French can pay back for what they did in the genocide. But what I would say is that maybe the victims and the suffering from the effects of the genocide to help them improve their lives.
We were afraid to go to France to follow all activities from France because they ignore what they did to participate in genocide. But now if they are accepting, it means that France are going to be our friends.
Although the report states that France bears overwhelming responsibilities over the genocide, it claims that there was no evidence Paris was complicit in the slaughter of around 800,000 people.
It would have been even much better if France had come out openly and given the whole story as it was. Okay? Having said that, to see even what came out today, as I said, it is a positive move in the right direction.
Rwanda's foreign ministry said the results from the country's own investigation commissioned in 2017 would be released in the coming weeks to complement this latest report.
The report is still lacking because we know the whole story. And I'm looking forward for the report that will be given by the Rwandan government that was commissioned in 2017. I'm sure it will have more facts that were not really explored in the French report.
Former Tutsi rebel and Rwandan president since the year 2000, Paul Kagame, has maintained for decades the role of France in the genocide, and only time will tell if relations between the two countries, following this report, will improve.
Well, that's a wrap for Pan-African Morning. Thank you for watching the program. We certainly appreciate it. Let's do this again tomorrow, same time, same place. Have a wonderful week ahead, and keep tuned to to Galaxy Universal Network. I beg your pardon. We have a number of programming left for you to watch throughout the day. From myself, Audrey, and the team behind the scenes. Be kind to one another, and we'll see you tomorrow.